Good afternoon. I am most grateful to Mr. Umesh for inviting me to say a few words at this conference. I feel deeply honored. My apologies for speaking to you by a recorded video. I live in California and it is now 3 a.m. local time. So I hope you will understand. My special greetings to Mr. Vipin Tyagi, Director CDOT, and the other leaders from service provider, equipment supplier, industries, and our academia. The focus of my remarks today is 5G. So what is 5G? All of you know that 5G is a major step up in wireless connectivity. While the first 4 generations of wireless networks were essentially focused on human-centered services, 5G will also add machines and sensors to greatly expand applications. Many scholars think that 5G impact will be on the scale of a full industrial revolution, on par with the 3 earlier revolutions, which were, if you recall, the steam power in the 18th century, mass manufacturing in the 19th century, and information technology in the 20th century. The Government of India has set out a vision for 5G in 2018, and I quote, "5G technology has the potential for ushering in a major societal transformation in India by enabling a rapid expansion of the role of information technology across manufacturing, education, healthcare, agriculture, finance, and social sectors. India must embrace this opportunity by deploying 5G networks early, efficiently, and pervasively. Emphasis should be placed on 5G touching the lives of rural and weaker economic sections of our country so as to make it a truly inclusive technology." End quote. So what are the Government of India's plans in 5G? The high-level forum set up by the government came out with a report last year, which was drafted by the steering committee that I chaired. The committee recommended several initiatives to maximize the impact of 5G, and the report can be downloaded from the DOT website. Some key recommendations of the report are spectrum policy. Allocate 5G spectrum per ITU guidelines with a total of 500 megahertz in the sub-6 gigahertz band and up to 12 gigahertz in the millimetric bands. Also, the cost of spectrum must be kept low to allow carriers to invest in this new and as yet commercially unproven technology. Next, regulatory policy. 5G is a much denser network with different cost performance factors and security vulnerabilities. New regulatory interventions are therefore needed to enable reliable and secure 5G networks. Next, education and awareness promotion. 5G will serve a completely new class of verticals like agriculture, transportation, healthcare, which have never used wireless connectivity. A huge effort is therefore needed to educate and support these verticals for using 5G. And finally, support for 5G trials to do technology and business model validation. 5G is very different from previous wireless networks, and extensive trials are needed to help industry make sound technology and business decisions. The report did not touch on R&D in 5G technology. Indian companies have not been a significant participant in 2, 3, and 4G technology, and that trend will unfortunately also continue in 5G. The world had started 5G development many years ago, and it's already poured in about $35 billion into this work. But we do have some opportunities in the area of IoT applications. The report also did not address manufacturing of 5G equipment. Happily, India has been growing in the area of electronic assembly. Multinationals have set up assembly plants for cell phones, for example, in India, and the total volume will touch $14 billion in 2019. However, this is still small compared to a global volume of 1.5 trillion. It's interesting to note that Vietnam alone will reach a volume of 114 billion in 2019. So what is the global status of 5G? The release 15 3GPP standards, which define 5G technology, have completed the enhanced broadband specifications last year, and the release 16, which will address IoT and low latency and high reliability applications, will be completed by end of 2020. Over 100 large 5G trials involving thousands of base stations have been completed around the world, at least in 100 countries, in order to assess applications and business case validation. The equipment, both infrastructure and phones for enhanced broadband, will be available, is already available, and in China and the United States, for example. China has started rolling out 5G rapidly, and 50% of smartphones sold in China in 2020, just a few months from now, will be 5G capable. US will take about 3 years to catch up with China. Notably, China lagged the US in 4G deployment, but will lead the US in 5G. 5G will also deliver data at about 30 times cheaper per bit than 4G, so it improves affordability of data and hasten digital transformation. But the real power of 5G will come with IoT and low latency, high reliability applications. As I said a few months ago, only 1% of those applications are envisioned today. Almost all those will come in the future. So India will lag China by about 2 to 3 years in 5G, so we have a lot to catch up. So what are some specific tasks that we need to do in India? First, the government. We need early allocation of 5G spectrum at reasonable pricing, and including we need to auction that spectrum. The government must also approve large-scale 5G trials these are now about a year behind schedule. And the government must also allocate funding for different 5G initiatives recommended in the 5G report. We now have a new telecom secretary, Mr. Anshu Prakash, and I know he is fully committed to advancing 5G in India. Next, academia. I would like to see more contributions on radio and network performance, as well as business models for 5G deployment in India. This has received little attention from our universities. Also, more lab prototyping of 5G is needed. A small 5G project funded by the DOT at a few IITs has made good progress. I hope we can expand this program to include more IITs and other universities. The end goal of such programs is to produce well-educated students and also potential 5G entrepreneurs. Next, on service providers. The societal benefits of 5G for India will only come if our service providers really do their job. This will take many years and lots of money. Service providers will also need to build test labs to evaluate 5G use cases, test vendor equipment, and vet business models. This is critical since 5G is very different from earlier generations and past learning may not be valid. To conclude, India has done a great job in 4G deployment, though the industry has some real economic viability problems. But we do have the highest bits per user delivered and the lowest cost per bit in the world. My hope is 5G deployment will also be a huge success. 5G will really transform India, and for that we must make 5G deployment early, affordable, and pervasive. Lots of work needs to be done to make that happen. If we do this right, we will reap a benefit of $1 trillion of economic value for our country over the next 10 years. This is a prize worth working for. So let me end now by once again thanking you for your attention, and I wish AdCom 2019 all success. Thank you.